Hi, guys. Hope you had a great, restful spring break and welcome back. This week is kind of a short week for us. I'm going to go ahead and scroll forward just so that you can see this. Thursday and Friday are the 2 days that you have to come in to do your iReady. ELA is on Thursday, and then the Math iReady is on Friday. So I have chosen, since you got to go in 2 days back to back, not to do any social studies assignments on those days. If you got anything missing, you could certainly use those 2 days to catch up on any missing work. All right, so we are going to finish up. I needed one more day to finish up the Holocaust. So we're going to look at the Holocaust assignments here. Let's see. I do want you to do the Holocaust survivor interview. So let me explain that one. You're going to go to an interactive site. I'm going to change the wording here just a little bit, make it a little bit clearer. But I want you to think of two questions you would ask of somebody who has survived the Holocaust. They need to be questions that ask him to explain something. Don't ask him a yes or no question. And I'll show you how the site works here in just a second. But write down your questions. Listen to his answers or read through his answers. He's gonna read it, and you can hear it and you can read it. And then what I want you to submit is I want to know what both of your questions were, and then I want you to condense down what he said into like a 1 or 2 sentence summary. Do not copy anything from his page. Just condense it down, practice putting things in your own words. If you hear something that he says and it makes you want to ask a third question, that's fine. You can add that. But just make sure you have at least two in there. Now, what happens when you go on the site? It opens up. You've got an image of him at the top, but what I want you to do is scroll down to the second image, this one right here where he's sitting in the chair. And what you're going to do is you're going to type your question over here, and then you hit the arrow and it submits it. And then he's going to verbally read his answer, but he's also going to give you an answer over here. So it's kind of a neat site to work with. These eyewitness history sites, which I don't use very much, but they're pretty neat. All right. Let's see. Let's see what's next. Next is just information, I believe. Yeah, I do want you to look at how difficult it was for many of the Jews who were survived in Germany, who survived the Holocaust. Many of them did not want to stay in Germany. It would be kind of hard, I think, to stay in a country that kind of had allowed this to happen to you. So I want you to read the After the Holocaust article. It's from the Holocaust Museum website. There's quite a lot of embedded links in there. You don't have to click on the embedded links, but do read through the material. There is not anything that you are submitting for that. All right, and then we did the creation of Israel in seventh grade, earlier seventh grade. So I don't think you need to do the Ed puzzle for this. All right, let's go back to modules so we can explain the next unit. So our next to the last unit is about the Cold War. And the Cold War is, and again, we looked at this in seventh grade, so there are some things that I want you to do. This is a time period between right after World War II and up to the end of the 1980s. And it's a time of hostility between the United States and the Soviet Union over freedom, really, because the United States has always supported democracy and capitalism and the idea that if you have a good idea, you should benefit from it, and the freedom to choose your own government. Whereas communism is a little bit different. In fact, it's a lot different. It's almost exactly the polar opposite of that. And I am going to get you to take a look at what communism is, just as a refresher. So the introduction to the Cold War is just a really quick overview reading. It's got a map in there, and that will kind of explain what was happening because the United States felt somewhat threatened because the Soviet Union began to kind of swallow up countries and convince them to become communist. And sometimes they used some pretty heavy tactics to convince them of that, and made no bones about the fact that they felt like all of Europe should be communist. And we objected to that because we do feel that that takes away freedoms. Now, there is no perfect political system, but this one was particularly objectionable, and we felt like we had an obligation to stop communism from spreading any further. So that's what this whole Cold War is about. So, let's see, introduction to the Cold War beginnings. I do want you to do this one and I want you to do defining communism. This is just a basic introduction. It's got a reading. This is your pages here on your textbook. This particular unit has several different sections of textbook reading that we're going to use. And for this section, go to page 966, do the skill builder questions 1 and 2. And then on page 970, define all of the terms in the names and terms section and do questions 4, 5, 7, and 8 on that. And then the defining communism is an ed puzzle that I want you to do because I need you to be really sure that you understand exactly what communism is all about. Now, for the space and arms race, I think we did enough with those before that you do not need to do the space and arms race. I do want you to look at this file. This is a page with some video because this file really goes with this article right here. It's going to explain in video format a few of those things that were embedded in the reading, the ones that were particularly important. So I feel like if you've read it and you've seen a little bit of video about it, you stand a chance of remembering a little bit better. So good luck. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you again on Monday.